views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Standing at the door, looking back at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might have been, knowing that this day will never come again, as my spirit's guiding me.
Hi, this is Elena Risto, Laney Risto to some of you, and you're with Soul Chat, and we're here live at alltalkradio.net, and if you want to call in and talk to us about anything we're talking about, you can call at 702-609-7626, or if you're on Skype, it's All Talk Radio. And my guest host today, she's a little nervous, but we'll fix her. Is Jen Mavros. She's a certified master life coach, licensed, right? Licensed,
yes, ma'am.
By the state of Nevada, or how's that work?
Yes, City of Henderson. Absolutely. Got my business license. I've also got certifications that back that up as well. So
you're legal.
Yes, I am legal.
Cool.
Yes.
Very cool. We're going to talk today about some manifestation. And I happened to catch, she's a friend of mine, and I met Jen in one of my circles a long time ago, a couple of years ago, in one of my shamanic healing circles. And then she got married. There was this big wedding, which was amazing.
A big fat Greek wedding, actually.
It literally was a big
300 plus people. Crazy.
I know. You didn't even have to go. You could watch the, you could look at all the pictures coming up on Facebook, And then she moved the family that she wanted to have here, right? They all moved her.
I did. A clan moved here, yep.
Yeah. So anyway, she has had some real interesting things about manifestation, and it's something that we all wonder about and we all talk about. And, of course, we talk from the spiritual side on this show, all things spiritual in nature, so we'll get to that. I want to do the segment of the show that we always start out with is, what did I learn about myself this week? What I learned about myself this week is that I finally got behind some of those things that I have been putting off for a long time, putting off doing. And they're not necessarily big things, but they were big enough that they were stopping me from actually making things happen, you know? Like,
that's huge.
Yeah, it really is. But it came about in an interesting way. I think it really, part of it had to do with my mother passing that we talked about last week. And one more time looking at the reverence for life. You know, what can I do in the moment? What can I say in the moment? But the other thing also had to do with really looking at telling the truth to myself. You know, do I really want to do this? And I had a conversation with someone last week who really is a dear friend, who has the guts to stand and tell me the truth, which is, I think that's how we tell who our real friends are.
Absolutely.
You know, that are willing to see the truth and have the courage to say it, even if it means risking the relationship.
Sure.
Not in a judgmental way.
No, of course.
But in a way of what they see and what their perspective is and how they see it. And there were some things she was a little off on, but there were some things that had a ring of truth to them. You know, and one of them is about, you know, when are you ever going to step up and do what it is that you're so gifted at? And I never thought of myself as gifted.
Oh, really?
What? See, there it is.
What do you mean?
I saw myself as talented. And she, when I got home, she sent me an email and she said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to step on you. But it's hard to hear perspective from people you care about."
Sure.
You know, and I want you to understand that you're talented, you're gifted, and you live a charmed life. And I answered her and said, well, I've always accepted I'm talented. Gifted, I've never heard that term to me before, so I'm going to have to kind of
wiggle around in it.
Wiggle around.
Try it on for size.
And a charmed life. I don't believe I've had a charmed life from her perspective. I think that's where her filter dropped in a bit. But I am very fortunate. I do have some things going on. And about the time I was trying to accept the fact that I might have a bit of a charmed life, we had the financial meltdown, and then the charm kind of fell off the map for a while. So I'm kind of working back to it. But learning all of that brought me to a place where I realized, well, look at what I'm doing to make sure that I don't accept things about myself. Look at the barriers I'm putting in front of me. Little things like everybody talks about procrastination, but I don't know that we really look at what we procrastinate about. You know, do I really need to sit and have one more cup of coffee in the morning? Am I really doing that, or am I just saying, oh gosh, I don't want to go out and work on that database one more time,
Right.
you know? So, which is kind of the flip side of what you're going to talk about today. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my heart glows when I get to talk about manifestation.
we can
'cause
tell your face glows.
I get so excited. I just want to dance. But
I'm going to ask pretty quickly here. I'm going to ask Jen to go ahead and talk about that. But she recently released a book, and I saw this last week, and this is what I thought. Oh, this would be a really good thing for the show. And it's I'm going to let you say the title because it's long, and I don't think the word's straight. It's a mini ebook.
It's an ebook mini. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know how you say it.
Yes, an ebook mini.
Kind of like a mini pig or a pig mini.
Yeah, basically,
okay.
like that,
Right,
very much like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I just found the ebooks were really lengthy for some people, so it gets right to the point, digs right into all the good stuff. But it's already understanding manifestation and knowing how to kind of manifest already, but wanting to take it to the next level. So there are 5 tools. It's called 5 must-have super tools to create soul-centered manifestations, and it's really geared towards anything in your life, whether it's relationships or health, wealth. I mean, every aspect of your life. So there are 5 tools that also give you implementation tips and sources and other resources that you can really grab a hold of if any of those resonate with you. So it's available for download for free.
Free. Did you see
For
that?
free.
Hear that, George?
That's the key word, my friends. Free.
Capital F-R-E-E,
Yep.
you know.
Exactly. So it's on my website for free. You can download that, and it's just my gift is really what it is.
So why don't you say your website right now so people,
Okay.
we'll say it again at the end of the show.
Sure,
so
it's
people
just my
have a
first
chance
and-
to do that.
Thank you. It's my first and last name, so Jen, 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 and then my last name, Mavros, Mavros.com, jenmavros.com.
And there's a link right there.
Yep,
there's
right
a
on the
picture
top.
of the
Mhm.
book and the whole bit. How
Yeah.
long did that take you to write?
Well, I had the assistance of an amazing content copywriter. She's fantastic. She really helped me with some grammatical stuff.
Is
and
that Elise?
Elise.
Oh,
yeah,
very nice.
I love her. So she really assisted me with just kind of that second viewpoint of, obviously I can do all the writing and do all that stuff, but her second set of eyes really, really helped. But probably honestly about like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, but it was a project that I really delved into and spent a chunk of time really every day working on it.
So the part I'm curious about is when did you get the idea for it? And what was there a trigger? Was there something that happened? Were you standing in the shower and you said, "Oh, I'm going to write a mini book," or whatever you called it?
Which actually, showering and water is a very interesting thing in itself for being a conduit. When you find yourself, if you're just like bathing, you're doing your thing, water tends to be a conduit for really amazing creative ideas. So they actually have these new things where you can like stick them on your shower. They're called like aqua notes, and you can write like notes if you get these like amazing brainstorms. Yeah.
I hate to interrupt, but that's where the actual idea from All Talk came from.
Hey.
I was in the shower.
Very cool.
A lot
See?
of my
That's
ideas
cool.
come from being in the shower.
Absolutely. So
You know-
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go to songwriters. Like I heard Lionel Richie was being interviewed one time, and I can't remember which one it was. He had a string of hits. Might have been Lady. One of those. He was standing in the shower.
Yeah.
And it's from a spiritual standpoint, I'm going to talk about the element of water.
Yes.
There's something about it that people look at it, and they don't look at it as being a strength, but it is.
Oh,
because if you
yes.
think about it,
Yes.
water goes as long as it needs to, and if it stops, it doesn't throw a fit or it doesn't procrastinate.
Right.
I mean, it just stops and it waits till it's time for it to either build up or find another place to go through. And I think it's that active thing that happens with water. I had somebody last week that was asking me, how many different kinds of shamanism are there in the world? Which is really an interesting question because no two shamanic healers are alike. And my return question to them was, how many drops of water in the ocean? It takes all of us to create that. So I think that's really interesting. So the quality of water is very interesting, and it's the feminine aspect tends to be looked at as a feminine aspect.
Sure.
And the warrior side of spiritual tends to be connected to water. There's
Definitely.
an interesting thing that happens. There's a strength in vulnerability.
Well, and taking that a step further too, water actually has its own intelligence. You know, you've heard about those those tests that have been done where they're applying energy of love, energy of hate, energy of just being neutral over water, and it actually changes the molecular structure of that water. So
Right.
it's just really interesting because it's when you drink water, when you bring it into your body, it actually becomes a part of you. So water is, there's a lot to be said about the very simple element of the world, just water. You think it's just water, but there's a lot more to it than we really give credit for.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's one of the elements that people look at, but they usually want to go to earth. Some people are attached, attracted to air as an element.
sure. Yeah.
But water is, it's different. And what's the number? We're like 80, are we 87% water or 90% water, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it varies, of course, but yeah, it's up there. I mean, I want to say it's like 50 something to about 70 something percent, depending on the person. But yeah, we're made up mostly of water. So,
well, I know that it's one of those things that when I'm really stressed, and people will say, well, if you're stressed, you got to take time for yourself, take a bubble bath. It's not about that. It's if I'm really stressed, I need to float. I need to just let it support me.
Yeah.
And but I've had some ideas on water myself, so that's really interesting. So you were in the shower.
You know, it's just random stuff comes in the most random times, of course. But I find that it's when you're in flow, when you're just in the rhythm of just being and just existing is sometimes when the most powerful ideas and things come to you. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and I know that I have to get my stuff out there because that's one of the things from a business standpoint. I've really been submerging myself in the online marketing avenue, and that kept coming up was ebook. So yeah,
which is only really taken off in the last couple of years, right?
Even
5 years ago, ebooks might have existed, maybe.
Right. And a lot of people still don't know what an ebook is, which it's an electronic book, basically, just like your email. It's electronic mail. It's just a book that you can download, and it's on your computer, your tablet, or your device of some sort. So it makes it a lot handier for you.
Well, and there's so much self-publishing. I mean, the internet, this is where the technology has come along that makes it easier to do things like this, things like music. It's definitely aided the independent musician, the independent writer.
Yeah.
So you got this idea.
Yeah, I want to put it out there. So one of my specialties is the art of manifestation. So, okay, you look around and a lot of people are talking about the law of attraction, which the art of manifestation actually is different. It's very, very similar, but it is different. How can I take that to the next level? What are some things that I can help people that are already manifesting in their life? How can they take that up a notch and bump it up? And so what are some things that I'm using in my own life that I've found have been really successful tools that I've implemented? And that's what I share in the ebook mini. So
let's talk about manifestation because
yes,
I know. Well, okay, the energy just bumped up there. So you can join us on this, George. We'll see. We'll throw some things at her and see what's going on here.
Oh, God. All right.
Yeah. So but first I want you to talk about, because for some people manifestation, it's one of those things that because of the metaphysical world, I think it's a term that sometimes gets overused. It's like resonate. If I hear one more person say that really resonates with me, it's like, do you really understand what that means?
Yeah.
So can you put it just kind of in simple terms what manifestation is?
Yeah, no, definitely. So as human beings living this experience that we're having in our journey, we are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. We are actually, every moment of the day, we are co-creating with the universe. Whether we are creating the environment around us, attracting people into our lives, creating circumstances for us, opportunities, and even health. And so really the first foundational element that you need to understand about manifestation is that you are the designer of your life. You design your life. So many people think that you're just a victim of circumstance and, oh, woe is me, like crap. Like I have these people in my life and, I have this really horrible situation that I'm going through. And that's perfect because that allows your soul to really take it to the next level for its own evolution. There are the lessons that you learn when things like that happen. But you can have an amazing life. You can have a life that's filled of happiness and love and joy. That's the purpose of our existence, is to feel and experience that. And so when you step into the role of being a conscious co-creator, so taking back a step, you're creating no matter what, you're manifesting things no matter what, but taking it a step back and you're actually stepping into the role of a conscious creator, where you are allowing things to come into your life that you do want rather than things that you don't want. So realizing that is one of the first fundamental elements that that a lot of people actually have a hard time with. They don't realize that they're the one that's creating their life. So that's huge. That's probably the number one thing that I would really start with when it comes to manifestation. But you can call anything into your life, really. You can attract certain people. I manifested my husband, my soulmate.
And the big fat Greek wedding.
And the big fat Greek wedding.
Did you know you were doing that at the time?
Yes, I did. Well, with my husband, no. I mean, I was just doing what felt good and what felt right. And then later did I realize that I was actually manifesting him. Then with wealth and, with your home, your car, I manifested my best friend into my life. So it's a very powerful thing, and stepping into the conscious part of it, being aware of what you're doing is huge. So that's why I'm here. That's why I want to spread the word about it.
So do you think that a person, and we've talked about this on this show before, and for those of you that are just tuning in, this is Soul Chat, and I'm Elena Risto, and this is
I'm Jen
Jen
Mavros.
Oh, she actually said it this time. That was kind of a sexy voice, too. That was pretty cool. Yeah, it got his attention. I saw George's head come up. So if you have a person who is, woe is me, who is feeling like they're at the end of the road and everything that's coming at them is running over the top of them, do you think it's possible to go from 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, to go from that place of feeling like a total victim to manifestation that you're talking about right away?
Yes and no. I believe in miracles. Let's just put it that way. I mean, every person is just like a snowflake. Every snowflake is so unique and different. Every person is completely different. So do I think it's possible? Absolutely. I think it's possible. I believe anything is possible. Most of the time, no. So it's meeting them where they're at and really helping them. Helping them is to understand that there's so much that goes into that. But again, just meeting them where they are.
Yeah.
So
I think as a shamanic healer and an energy healer, what I do is I do the same thing. And you've seen me. You've worked with me. That you do meet people where they are, and sometimes the healing comes at the moment they get the vision and they understand, oh my gosh, I created this.
Yes.
That's where some real healing happens. It doesn't mean that the other person didn't create it, because it's a dance.
Yes.
You do it together.
Yes.
But in certain regard, I think sometimes people need to understand that things that have happened in their life, you get that somebody gets hit by a car. Did I create that? That's a tough one, because I have people ask me that. But if I ask to understand the process of healing, it's like when I fell down and broke my leg. I have to say the good news, everything's a mixed bag to me, that the good news that came out of that is I was at my most, I felt more vulnerable than I had in any other time in my life, except for a couple incidences where I truly was a victim. But I felt the most vulnerable, and I wanted, what I was asking the universe at that time is I wanted to feel more joy in my life. So it's like I had to go through that time of vulnerability. So it's like looking back at what's happened to see, what did I get out of this? And I co-created this with the universe, which is what you're talking about. Right. And then, so now let's jump from that, because that's kind of stepping back in the healing world. Let's jump from that to, say I want to create something. What would you do? Is there a simple exercise you would start? You said you got tools, so what would you do?
One of the first things that I really work with people on is, of course, the realizing that you're so much more powerful than you give yourself credit for. The first thing is really clarity, because a lot of times you'll just be like really confused about what you actually want in your life. So shedding clarity on the subject is huge and really eye-opening. Once you have that, once you state what it is that you are desiring in your life, you take that a step further and you say, how does it make me feel? Because our emotions are our road posts. They guide us in our life.
They're a map.
They really are. And if you're feeling happiness and joy, go there. Do more of that. Go with that person, because that is your soul telling you that that's the right path for you. So how does what you are asking the universe for, when you are co-creating with spirit, how does it make you feel? Do you feel excited about it? Does it bring you joy? Does it bring you happiness? Or does it kind of like, oof, this brings anxiety? So really identifying the emotion behind what it is you're asking for, because sometimes people will think that based on our societal beliefs and our cultures, you're trained almost to think that you have to have certain things in your life, like the white picket fence and the family of 2 kids and a dog and a corporate job and working your way up the ladder. Like, people sometimes think that that's what you have to have.
And understanding that sometimes those comes from beliefs of the family of origin you're raised in.
Absolutely.
If that was their value system.
Yes.
I have to be a doctor. I have to make a lot of money. I have to get married. I have to have kids. And maybe deep in your core, that isn't what lights you up.
Exactly.
So the clarity you're talking about is looking to see, does this really make me happy?
Yes. So of course, stating the clarity. So what makes you happy? What do you desire in your life? Then looking at the emotion behind that and feeling the emotion behind it. The next step, they're just simple tools. I mean,
now, these are tools out of your ebook.
No, it's tools meaning through manifestation. I guess I should say steps, more or less.
Okay.
So my practice is founded on love and gratitude. Those are very high vibrational energies, and they just make you feel good. They're amazing. So the first thing that I have people do is focus on gratitude. What brings you what are the blessings that you have in your life that brings you that? Sometimes it might bring you down to your knees and you just feel so humbled because this person is in your life or you have this. So gratitude is huge because it switches you from the lack mentality to the abundance mentality. So practice of gratitude is huge. I cannot even tell you how huge that is.
Now, I remember you and I having a conversation not long ago because I won a free hour with you.
Yes, you did.
2-hour session. Oh, we'll get you one, George. And I remember going through this piece and writing down, and I remembered things, and it was the little things. It's not the big things.
Yes.
I'm thankful for that big fancy car out in the driveway. Maybe you have one. Well, you can be thankful about that, but it's other things as well.
Yes. I mean, it's as simple as the bed that you sleep in.
Oh,
or
yeah, I love my bed. I slept for 2 weeks in Canada
right?
on a bed that wasn't quite right. I loved being there, but it wasn't quite right, and I noticed it so much more when I got home, and I went, oh, this is my bed.
Yes. Yes.
Is great.
I hear you on that. Holy
cow.
Yeah.
I mean, what about you, George? What are you grateful for?
That I still have some hair.
That's important.
It is important.
And that it's starting to come back again. That
it
helps.
It is. I was going to
tell you. It's getting a little thicker. You notice that?
Wow.
Look at the gray starting to disappear too.
Oh my!
I'm regenerating. I'm getting younger.
You are. You're going to be like Benjamin.
Benjamin Buttons.
Benjamin Buttons.
I thought that was an amazing movie.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I remembered one of the first things that I was really grateful for is my dog.
Yes.
The way that dog bounces down the stairs always makes me smile, even when I'm mad at her.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So and like you said, yes, it's absolutely identifying the little things in your life that you sometimes overlook, and you feel, when you're switching into that lack mentality, like, I don't have this and I wish I had that, going into a state of gratitude and practicing gratitude every single day, you won't experience that as often.
Now, how would you practice gratitude every single day? What would you suggest
you
do?
Absolutely. So I have a gratitude journal, and I have them all over the house. My poor husband's like, babe, what do you want me to do with this book? Because he finds them everywhere. Let me just put it in the cabinet. So there was actually a study done at the the University of Southern California, that they actually did a gratitude study to see what was the most effective way to practice gratitude. And what they found was that at least once a day, listing or stating one thing that you're grateful for, and it could be something completely small, like your toothbrush. I mean, hello, you gotta brush your tooths. It could be something small.
You do? Oh, you do?
Yes, let's hope so. All right. So it could be something small. It could be huge, like my husband or my family. So identifying what it is that you want to be grateful, what that gratitude is for the day, and then writing down 5 sentences or statements that you feel what about that thing makes you feel grateful.
Okay,
and then
so give us an example of that. Just say what you're grateful for.
Oh, sure.
I mean, we can each do that, and you know, go for it and see what.
Well,
we can.
I'll just
so give me an example.
Okay, so we'll do like my bed. Okay, so I am so grateful for my bed because not only does it hold me all night, but when I wake up, I feel rested. I mean, you know, you're listing 5 things that draw of why you are grateful for it. So not only does it help me get more rest, but I feel so comfortable when I'm with it. It really tailors itself to my body and it shapes itself around my body. And going more into depth with that. And then the next step with that is feeling and connecting with the emotion. Again, back to the emotion again. Because when you connect with the emotion, I'll tell you what, with a lot of things that when I'm doing my gratitude practice, I bawl, like I cry. I'm like, oh my gosh, like thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that emotion, connecting with the emotion, really again flips you from that lack mentality to the abundance mentality.
Okay, now I also want to say that some people I know, I mean, you do it very easily, but there are some of us that are kind of curmudgeons.
Sure, yeah.
You know? And so if you're just starting out and you haven't felt that, thank you,
Sure.
you might get there.
Oh, yes.
You've been practicing it for a while.
And that's why
so.
I call it a gratitude practice, because it's almost like a muscle that you have to work out.
Okay.
You know, you're not going to jump into a marathon tomorrow and not without having trained a little bit or a lot bit. But you know, it's something that you practice on a daily basis, and you'll hone in on you know, and there will be times where you're just going about your daily business and you'll just snap into a moment of gratitude without even realizing it. So it's very, very powerful.
I know that one of the things that I do that people have asked me to put it down so that they can take it home with them is I greet the sun every morning.
Yes.
And the reason I do that is because I realize one of the things I'm grateful for in living here, being raised in the Northwest where it's 9 months of the year, it's cloud cover,
Right.
is I really do enjoy the sun. And I'm so grateful that my house faces in such a way that I can go out and stand right by the pool, and there comes the sun over the mountain.
Sure.
And the moon comes up in the same place, and it's like, wow, look at that. It's like its own movie. You
Yeah.
know? But the peace that I feel, and I noticed, I've been doing this now probably, I sing a song to the sun, and the dog stands there and watches me. She's very
Cute.
waiting for me
Very
to come in
cute.
and fill up the dog dish. But I'm grateful for it, and I say things like, I have thoughts, but I'm not my thoughts. I have a mind, I'm not my mind. I have a body, I'm not my body. I'm me. I'm a light, just like the sun.
Yes.
And what I've noticed is when I don't do it now, something's missing. So I've done it often enough. And is it still pretty much the rule of thumb? It's been for years that you have to do something at least 28 days or 30 days in a row. What do you think?
No, science has shown that there's, I mean, no. I mean, the last time I heard it was like 66 days. So, or 28 days or 21 days.
It's kind of like today coffee's
It's
good
like-
for you, tomorrow it's not, right?
Right. So it's inconsistent with the actual number. I mean, if it makes you feel good, do it. Don't worry about the days. Just do it.
But I did notice is that sometimes it's a struggle because people put a big goal in front
Sure.
of themselves. Today I'm going to go work out. I am not grateful for working out. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not grateful for working out. You know, it's something I have to force myself to do.
Sure.
But after a period of time, I notice it if it's not there. So there is a path. There's a neuron pathway thing
Yes.
with neuroplasticity, I think is
Yes.
what they call it. The studies that they're doing that now. So to get somebody from zero, from oh it's my birthday, I'm so happy, to oh I'm so grateful, everybody's like a snowflake. How do you get there? It's true, right?
Oh my goodness.
Some days you're looking at somebody like me that's going, oh yeah, here comes Miss Perky again, you know.
Right. Oh, then I have to smile at those people and just show them some love. But
If you noticed, I don't talk to you until about noon.
Right.
You've noticed that, right?
Well, yes, I have. No, it's a practice. It's just the journey. It's just, you know, you can't. So many times people are just like, I want it now. I don't have patience. But that in itself is its lesson is the patience behind it. So maybe you need to learn patience. So everybody's different. I really can't speculate on one specific thing, or you know, how can one person get here from here. Everybody is so different.
So
it's
do you've had somebody like that though, or you've probably
Yes.
really had to work. I mean, you don't have to give names. We don't.
oh no
use
no
names.
oh I wouldn't
So-
Oh
anyway.
no, I want all the names.
Do you?
No.
He wants the phone numbers too and the email address. And, yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's just the implementing small things. In order for real deep-rooted change to affect you and transform you, you can start where you are. Start small. I mean, if it's just a matter of maybe once a week, you're reminding yourself, you put it on your calendar to, okay, today I'm going to spend 5 minutes once a week and just think about the things that I'm grateful for. And I'm going to do what Jen Mavros said. I'm going to write down 5 statements or sentences, and then I'm going to feel the emotion behind it. I mean, even if it's something as small as that, where you're reminding yourself on your calendar once a week or once a month, start where you're at and implement things into your life, because change, it does sometimes take change a long time to happen for some people, and that's totally okay, because that's where they are in their life's journey. So it's all good.
I think that the thing that a lot of people are concerned about, and I have a lot of friends that are psychics and psychic mediums, is one of the big questions they always get, and George and I have spent a fair amount of time talking about this, is changing relationships. Changing the kind of relationships you're drawing to you. What are you realize? I mean, after my second divorce, I went, I think I helped create this. The light bulb was starting to come on, and I didn't want to create that again. So I put myself into a course of study on emotional awareness. That's how I came out of it.
Yes.
So which fits with what you're talking about. So if you're creating a new relationship, and I'm not in one now, I haven't been in one for about 3 or 4 years, and I have to say, I really feel like this time, and I will create another one.
Of course.
But this time it's going to be different. I know it, and it's not because I've changed things on the outside. It's because I've changed things on the inside.
Yes. I have a saying where it's internally aware and outwardly successful.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
That's George.
Yes.
In the hair, yeah. And the relationship.
Yes.
He's got a new relationship we're all excited about.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Well, he and I have talked about this off and on over the last, 6 months, George, I think?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And it was about changing your thoughts.
Oh, and that's another step in manifestation as well, is the positive thing. I know positive development of, everybody, the positive movement that everybody talks about. There really is something to that. I know that a lot of people don't want to talk about positive thinking, but you know what? What you think about most is really what you're creating for yourself. So if your thoughts are not as clean as you'd like them to be, or they're not what you're wanting to call into your life, well, then they need to change. So positive thinking is huge too.
I have had a discussion lately with someone who I found myself, I keep going back to that discussion because there were things about it that just irritated me. And what I found was I'm driving down the road, and no matter what I'm doing, I find my thoughts going back to it.
Sure.
So I had to set the intention. That's a big one, I think, is setting the intention.
Yes, of course.
I can write down all day long things on the calendar, but if I don't truly set the intention from the inside, I'm not going to follow through until the next time I walk by the calendar, and which is a calendar's a tool. It's not the end all, right? And I found myself going, no, I'm not going to let my mind go there again. And I was amazed at how quickly my mind would go back to that conversation.
Yes, well,
back to that conversation, and then.
Specifically when it comes to positive thinking, one of the things that I tell my clients is, and tell myself too, because this is something that I'm a human too. This is something I remind myself of all the time. It's not, I was born a manifestation
or a
guru.
Snowflake.
You know what I mean?
Happy to be a snowflake.
I'm happy to be a snowflake for sure.
I could see when you were a kid going, I'm a snowflake, Mom. I can see it.
Oh.
Yeah, I can.
Very
I know
cute.
your mom.
Yep, you sure do. Yeah. Look, it's just you start where you are. You start where you're at. And what the positive thinking is, they're called state breaks. You're breaking the state. So if you find the awareness when you're becoming more aware of the thoughts that you're thinking. Now, look, you think something like 30,000 thoughts a day, something crazy like that. Now, I'm not asking you to be an awareness of every single thought that you're thinking, but when you find yourself kind of going down that rabbit hole.
Right, that's what I was doing. I was going down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Back into this confrontational kind of conversation, going over it again, and I had to, you know how I stopped it? I gave her a different name.
You do that too? Sure.
Yeah, I gave it a different name. Something to break. Cool. It broke
the break state. Yeah.
The break
so you can do
state,
something like, do you smell popcorn? And then you're like, no, I don't. You just broke your state of what you were thinking about. Or you can even just go into like an incessive running for 20 seconds. I know that sounds really weird, but that actually breaks states. So with one negative thought you're thinking, you need to replace it with 3 positive thoughts.
Do I have to keep track? This is 1. Now I got to come up with 2.
Just do something like that. So,
Something.
replacing those negative beliefs with or thoughts with positive thoughts. So do the state break, and then replace them with some positive, beautiful thoughts that you do want to think about.
I think that's really good, because it does start with thoughts. It does start with changing your thoughts. I can change locations all I want, but I'm going to take, like my daughter says, I'm going to take me with me wherever I go.
Absolutely.
So I have to change that. Yeah, locale. That's what I did over Christmas when I went to Canada. I knew I needed to change the locale. I knew I needed something extreme to take me out of my normal whatever. So you're talking about doing little tiny ones, which I think major change happens in the small spaces. I always have thought that. You know, have I been good at doing it? Sometimes, sometimes. But that's the deal about walking the path. When your soul, I believe that this is, we're in a great experiment here. That the soul, the soul just feels unconditional love. It doesn't feel the anger. It doesn't feel the frustration. It doesn't feel, oh, woe is me. That's a personality state. That's the
human element.
That's the human element. And so we're the great experiment for our soul. And it's learning everything.
The lessons, yeah.
Yeah, the lessons. And so and that actually kind of helps me. Because I think, oh, well, how am I going to do school today? How am I going to, or ask myself a question. Do I really want to do this? And do I really want to, what am I feeling now?
Well, when it comes to things like that, where you're not necessarily, there are things you should be doing, but you're like, I don't want to do that. You have to, again, connect with the emotional why. Why? What is your why? Because the why will be the fire that you light underneath you that will keep you going. It almost pulls you towards what it is that you say you want and desire in your life.
So if I say I want to make more money, and the why is because my mother said so.
I would say go deeper.
Go deeper?
Yeah,
Okay.
Definitely. Go deeper.
So what have you heard that could be deeper than that?
I mean, there's stories of people who have, they've struggled and they've been homeless, or they've, not eaten meals, or, it could be something simply like that. But I would, for you, because I know you, I would say go deeper. What is your why? That's huge. So finding your why. A deep why, not just something.
Not a male, just a why.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I got it.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I just changed your state. Did you notice?
Thanks
that?
a lot. Yeah. I was in the groove and you totally just threw me out. Thanks a lot.
I know. Because I wanted to deflect you off of that. I don't know why. And that's something to notice, because people do that.
Oh. Yes,
they do. They'll deflect. They'll take you right out of wherever you're going. But no, I think that's really good. We're talking about stuff that I have had to take whole seminars and spend dollars to look at over the past few years. But simple things like, what am I doing this for?
Yes.
I mean, I've got a situation now, something I've been studying for quite a while, and I'm looking at it, and I did the same thing. I go, why am I doing this really? Well, I'm not clear yet. It's very possible that I really do want this, but it's also possible I've been doing it because I sometimes get locked in this thing. Well, I'm going to do that someday, so that's my worth.
Sure.
That validates that thing that I'm going to do something, so that means I'm doing something. Even if I'm doing nothing, at least I'm going to do it someday.
Okay.
That's
someday is almost like the word try. It's like that gray area in between. You're not doing or you're not doing. You're just trying. So people will say, "Yeah, but I'm trying, Jen. I'm trying." I'm like, you're either doing it or you're not.
Right.
So step out of the word try. Step out of the word someday, because someday may never come. We have, life is amazing. It really is we're so blessed, but we're not guaranteed tomorrow.
No, and that's the truth. I mean, it became very aware to me and I've known this because I work with people that work with grief, dealing with grief all the time.
Yeah.
But it's even more so last week. I was a good reminder because my mom passed. So what can you do today? What is it that I can do in this moment?
Yeah. And
here's another one that I ask myself sometimes is, by doing this, am I expanding or am I contracting?
Or am I choosing this from fear or from love?
Yeah. That one doesn't work for me as well.
Okay.
It doesn't, because part of it I think is because I heard that in a certain context for so long.
Oh,
I kind of got desensitized to it.
Like it resonates with you.
Yeah.
It doesn't resonate.
She was listening. But I think it does. For me, it's like, am I really stepping into myself here, or am I? But I'm looking at that right now. That's an issue I'm looking at really a lot right now. Or am I stepping back?
Sure.
And if I'm stepping back, it's okay as long as I know why I'm stepping back, and there's why you're talking about. It's because I need more information, or maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just scared.
Yeah, and the comfort zone that's huge too. People like to stay in their comfort zone. Hey, I'm totally guilty of that myself. I like to, like for today, for instance, I was just sharing with you that, this is something that I don't normally do, is go on the radio.
Well, you've been telling me for 3 days. Yeah, you've been telling me for 3 days that I'm a little nervous.
I am, and it's just because it's out of my comfort zone. It's something that I'm not, mastering or doing on a regular basis. So I threw myself out of my comfort zone by asking, and for me, this works for me, asking myself, am I, my initial reaction was like, no, why would I do that? I don't want to go on the radio. But then I asked myself, I said, look, am I making this decision out of fear or love? And I said, okay, I'm totally like nervous and experiencing a little anxiety.
So you went to your physical being. You went in and you said, what am I physically feeling? Not just am I feeling nervous? It's like, what am I feeling? Oh, I got a few tingles in the tummy, and I got, so that's what you went to. Okay,
yes, and so I said, all right, I don't want to do this because it's out of fear. So then I was like, okay, that's my comfort zone right there. That's the boundary of my comfort zone. So because I'm always wanting to expand and grow and evolve, I have to
go back to that.
Okay.
The boundary of my comfort zone. How did you know it was the boundary of your comfort zone?
I just felt it. It was almost like an intuitive hit. I mean, I just knew that it was uncomfortable for me because I've thought about it many times before. I've been asked to be on other radio shows before, but I've found excuses to, I can't do it that day because I'm busy, or I've found an excuse not to do it. And
so why this one?
Because I'm ready now. Like I'm to the point of look, get out of your comfort zone, Jen. Like I know, because I teach this. This is something that I teach, and I want to master myself.
There you go.
So with self-mastery, it's every area of your life that you're mastering, whether it's physical or emotional, mental, or spiritual. And so this for me was allowing me to step out of my comfort zone to really start mastering myself more.
And then you jumped right into video also, right on top, not even just audio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot. Jeez.
Got her. Nice one, George. I was thinking the same thing. We work well together.
Oh, my goodness. So, yes. So the boundary of my comfort zone, I knew that it was right there because I didn't want to do it. I was bumping up against the edge of that. So I stepped out of it, and I'm totally glad that I did. I mean, one of the things, too, body language is huge. So this is, I also have studied neuro-linguistic programming. We've talked about that, which is basically, in a nutshell, communication. Kind of.
And how people take in information, and it's an amazing, isn't it, when you figure that
out? It's absolutely fascinating. And there's a couple different ways with communication, whether it's the words that we're speaking, whether it's the tonality, the inflections in our voice and so forth, and then body language, our physiology. And one of the things that I actually did, I before when we got here, I said, I have to use the restroom. And I was in there for a while. You're probably like, what's going on?
No, I wasn't. I was
I was actually practicing a technique that allows me to step into confidence. So if you are stepping into a confident, like, power pose, and you stand there for approximately 2 minutes, it's actually shown statistically that you will feel more confident. You will step into that role. So rather if your shoulders are slunched over, or if you're, like, we're so notorious nowadays of going into our cell phone, this is actually it's not a power stance.
No, it's not. I never thought about that before.
Yeah.
It's
so,
not.
and you can... So I was actually looking at myself in the mirror, and I was like in my power pose, and I was like, dude, I got this. Like, I'm pumped. So I was saying some positive affirmations to myself and pumping myself up, and I came out and I was like, let's do this. Yeah.
You did. You literally did that. Yeah, that's cool.
So
how much time we got left, George? We're on for a bit? 5 minutes. We're good. I think that's very interesting because I don't have an issue on the mic, as you can tell. I don't have an issue with standing.
Right.
Hand me a mic, and it doesn't matter if it's 2 people or you've seen me.
Sure.
5,000 people. It doesn't matter. I'm very comfortable on stage. That's where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
But if you noticed when I was at your house the other night, did you notice I kind of went and sat on the couch?
Of course, I did. Yeah.
Because I noticed that I was a little uncomfortable because I don't know what to talk to people about if they don't want to talk about this or if they don't want to talk, it's just because there are parts of me that are very shy, believe it or not. And I went, and then I found myself, I kept gravitating towards that whole table of food that you had there, right? Well, that's not going to work, So I decided to go sit on the couch
Mhm.
and just sit there and test. Okay, let me see what happens here. If I just sit here and just get comfortable and let's see what happens. And eventually, you know, pretty soon somebody came over and sat down and then we started having a conversation. That performance anxiety of having to perform threw me out of my comfort zone.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it just, in that situation, I wasn't comfortable. And then I was fine.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I love that one. Have you seen the Weight Watchers commercial? Somebody just brought that up to me about what happens when you're feeling sad, and then that shows them going into their fridge, and what happens. And it's all about emotional
so true.
eating.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought it was brilliant. I looked
Yeah.
at that because I'd done every one of the examples.
Yeah.
You know, but it is about breaking the pattern. It
Break
is
state. Yep.
break state. Yeah, it is about breaking the pattern. Okay, so let's give some information. Where can they get your, one more time, where can they get your free mini ebook mini? Ebook mini.
Ebook mini.
I'm going to get that straight yet.
It's all good.
And it's
Mini
5
ebook.
super tools, 5.
Yes, 5 must-have super tools to create soul-centered manifestation. So this is for the person that is already somewhat aware of manifesting your life. I wouldn't say if you're a beginner and you've never done manifestation. I mean, you're definitely going to you'll get something out of it for sure.
And this manifestation meaning you've consciously figured out what you want to create, and now you're at the place where you want to create it.
Correct.
Right?
So you are stepping into the role of
so
a
the
conscious
person that
creator.
says, I'm just a victim and I don't know, I mean, there's some other things to do, and you start
Yes.
with a gratitude journal, or you start with noticing, what am I doing right now and why am I doing it?
Yes.
Right? That's what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Because we could talk about this for 2 hours.
Right.
It just kind of goes that way.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But there are practical tools that you can implement into your life, even if you're not necessarily manifesting, because it has to do with emotions as well. Look, it's free.
I was going
It's
to
free,
say,
okay?
if it's free, download it and read it. And I always tell people, if something resonates or strikes you,
Yes.
that you go, wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know about that. Take
Sure.
that. And if the rest of it doesn't make sense now, just put it away.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
make sense later.
Absolutely.
But it's a good place to start, even if you don't feel like you're at the place where you don't want to believe I'm creating this life.
Yeah.
Because my belief is we're every moment we're creating our life.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I think so too.
So it's on my website, jenmavros.com, and then you just scroll down just a skosh, and it's on the right-hand side.
And you just click it and it downloads, and away
You
go.
have to put in your information, your first name and your email address, and then I email it to you.
Yeah, that's good. I went through the process and it works really, really pretty good.
Thank you. Thanks.
So I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you
today.
so much.
It was good.
I actually
showing-
I had a great time.
I told you.
I know.
You want to come back?
Sure.
Yeah,
I would love to.
I knew that. I knew that's what was going to happen. I'm going to
Thank
be
you.
this Friday night. I'm going to be at the Intentional Wellness Center doing an introduction to shamanism. And Sunday I'm at Soul Sunday at the Meadows, and I'm probably going to talk about the new moon. We didn't even talk about that. This is a new moon. This was the perfect thing to talk about. It is a new moon. It's in Aquarius. It's a super moon, which is if we could see it, but it's cloud covered today. You can't see it. It's all about creating reality out of your wishes and dreams. So Jan's book is absolutely perfect for that. So if you want to know more about the new moon, you can show up on Sunday at 2900 South Valley View at the Meadows. Tuesday night, I don't know where I am. I'm someplace Tuesday night. Oh, I'm at Spirit Us Reiki Center. Anyway, I'm Elena Risto. Laney Risto, thanks for joining us. Show up next week. Cozy Meyer's going to be here. We're going to talk about physically actions you can take to clear your chakras. Have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Standing at the door, looking back at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might have been, knowing that this day will never come.